Okay, so I'm here to talk to you guys about autopilot. As you guys see, I've been making a lot of videos talking about autopilot because to me, that's the biggest feature on my Tesla, right? Now, shout out to my friend, my boy Houston. He sent me an article where somebody a couple months ago died from they was using autopilot and they died, right? Now, I wanted to tell people my experience with autopilot since I've had my Tesla for a month and change now. And I'm going to tell you guys the good and the bad about the car driving itself and certain things it's not picking up, but majority of the things it is picking up. Now, let's start off with the bad. Some of the things that I've seen happening when I'm on the highway is sometimes when you're all the way to the right in the lane where cars will merge, if the merging lane for the oncoming traffic, the one that's coming in onto the highway, right? If their lane is really short to merge and the Tesla is coming up in that lane and it senses a car coming, it will brake real hard, right? And when it does that, it scares, like it happened twice with my wife, and it scared her it scared her because she knows that as a human, we would never brake that hard. We either would indicate, try to search lanes, or we would gradually slow down, but not to brake that hard. And then I tried that same thing again in the lane with the longer entrance, right? And the car just went smoothly with no problem because it knows that that particular car that's trying to merge has more than enough time to get on the highway. So they know right as they come off to go on the exit, to come on the entrance, right? They know for a fact that they don't have to get on right away. They could take their time and drive down and then merge on. So that little short entrance that it had, the Tesla felt, you know what? This guy might push out. So it made a sharp stop. And both time it did it, I mean, it has cameras and sensors everywhere. So I know it most likely was picking up everything behind. There was no cars behind us when it did that. But it was just that, you know, that fast break, like, okay, there's a car. I'm like, okay. It didn't have to be that dramatic, but I guess it's being extra cautious to make sure this car doesn't come out and hit the car. Now, I've showed you videos of the autopilot acting up. I still haven't called them yet to see if they're gonna try to push out the official firmware out to my car, because the two times I tried to do the update on my car, I told you guys that it would it said failed, but for some reason I got the update, which it doesn't add up. And ever since I got the update is when certain parts of the highway, the navigation, the GPS started, not the GPS, but the autopilot started bugging out, where it's indicating, it's telling me to shake the steering wheel, and it's doing it like constantly, back to back to back to back to back to back. And I realized that, okay, this is a glitch. This is not normal, because before, when I was using autopilot, which I used it every single day, it wasn't doing that. Now, anybody that don't know about autopilot would be scared to use it, right? Granted, it makes sense. You figure when I first got the car, I was scared to use it. But because I use this thing every day, I know its limits. Like using it you can use it on regular roads, right? But you already know that it doesn't read the lights, it doesn't read the stop signs, nothing like that. So what I did one time was, I'm on a regular road, it was 2 lanes, and I was in the far right. And it's following the cars in front of it. So you know if the car is going, it's going to follow it. If the light turned red, the car would stop, the Tesla would stop. Now, the light was green for the people that was going straight, but then the people that was turning right, they could turn let me see. Am I explaining it right? There was a truck coming from the left-hand side, right? And he was coming to merge onto my road, right? He was going to turn onto my road. Now, when he was doing that, and I was in the far right lane, the Tesla actually sensed the truck coming from because I was paying attention, and I knew that it was coming, but I wanted to see what the car was going to do in response to that car coming. And when the truck was coming, the car like slowed down a little, but then it realized the truck stopped moving, so it kept on going. And I'm like, I don't think that the Tesla autopilot is made for regular roads, right? It's not ready for regular roads yet. You can use it, but you have to be cautious and you have to be mindful of what you're doing. Some people are getting, like, honestly, I'm not even gonna lie to you, on the highway I'm real comfortable because it's just one straight. There's no merge, like, and what I try to do now, I stay all the way in the left lane. I try to stay in the fast lane or the HOV lane. So I don't have to worry about cars merging as much. So I don't have to worry about that braking and stuff like that. So I stay all the way to the far left. So that's my advice. Yeah, so what I was saying is, you could use it on regular roads, right? But you got to be more alert than you would on the highway because of the different directions cars are coming, you know? On the highway, the cars that's coming towards you is on a whole nother side. You got a divider that separates y'all. The car don't have to worry about those cars. The only thing it has to worry about is the cars next to it, the cars in front of it, the car behind it. Now, when you use it on regular roads, the car got to worry about cars coming from this way, this way, this way, this way. It's a lot, you know? And people need to understand that he didn't send out the update of them showing it running in regular streets, stopping at stop sign, all that stuff. It's not ready for the public yet. So if you're going to use autopilot on regular streets, just let it be known that it's going to follow the road. And I've used it. I use it all the time just to see, like, this is how you learn about stuff, you know? And you're doing it all the time constantly, then you know the limitations of what this thing could do. When I use it on my regular roads, right, I realized that certain roads were split like this, right? But remember, you can't navigate on autopilot on regular roads. It's just basically just following the lane. Now, the road is split like this. I want to go this way, right? I want to go to the right, but I would see it go this way and it would try to run the stop sign, you know? Or I've seen it one time, it's supposed to merge from one highway to the next. It always does it, but for this particular time, it indicated saying it wanted to merge, and then the merger didn't go through. So merging from highway to highway is not perfect, you know? And when it comes to those times, I'm extra cautious and I'm watching everything to see what's going on, because I'm moving from one highway to the next, and I know that at any moment anything can happen. So I'm extra cautious and I'm watching it. I'm like this, watching it just to see what it's going to do, because just like I said, every single day it was doing it. It was merging from this highway to this highway with no problem. This time it signaled and said it was going to merge, but the merger didn't go through. So I had to take over. And then there's certain parts where the lines are not as good, right? Or sometimes the line is not there at all. And what ended up happening is the car would sit there and try to look for the lines. So it started drifting over into the other lane, you know, and then if it see a car coming, it would catch itself and put it back in the middle. So I'm analyzing the crap out of autopilot because I want to know what could go wrong. I want to know what things it does wrong. And this autopilot thing is something that's always learning. So if I'm always using it, right, I'm learning, it's learning, and then Elon can take the data and he can update certain things. You get what I'm saying? Like even today, No, yesterday. I was using it and I was in bumper to bumper traffic and it wanted to get it from the left lane to the middle lane. When it indicated, it came up on the screen that it want to go switch over, right? I clicked cancel and it just kept on trying and trying and trying. And for me, I think that's annoying because I'm like, I'm nowhere close to my exit. If you're indicating that you want to go to the middle lane, if I click cancel, you should not try again unless, let me indicate and you try to go over. But if I cancel you trying to go to the right lane, don't come 2 seconds later trying to ask me to go back in the right lane again. I'm telling you, I don't want to go over there. I want to stay in this left lane. Even though you think it's the slower lane, right? I know in the middle lane is nothing but trucks. And this lane is actually slower than the lane that we're in. It's just that this lane right now is at a full stop. So I want to stay in this lane. So I'll click cancel and just keep doing the same thing over and over. Then I was like, you know what? Do what you got to do. Then it's trying to come over. Nobody behind it. It cancels. Bring back over. Then it does it again. Cancels and bring it back over. I'm like, why is it doing that? There's nothing behind it. There's nothing behind it. And this is what I'm saying, guys. You got to understand, technology is not perfect. You have autopilot on planes. You have autopilot on some cars. You have some people that have cars where the brakes fails. Anything can go wrong in a car. That's what people need to understand. That these things are man-made and nothing man-made is perfect. Nothing. They all have flaws. They all have problems. You get what I'm saying? So those are the bad that I could say with autopilot. You know, it's not perfect, but I tell you this much. If you're a person that drives on the highway all the time, autopilot is for you. If you live on the highway, autopilot is for you. If you're a person that drives on regular road all the time, you're getting a Tesla. Your main thing is to save money on gas and maintenance and stuff like that. But when it comes to driving, it's not a huge deal because you're just, majority of the times you are going to be driving. For me, majority of the times I'm not driving. I'm using autopilot because I'm always on the highway. And the great thing about, now that we get into the good things now, the good thing about autopilot is I'm more aware now than I was when I was driving. Let me tell you how. When I'm using autopilot, I observe everything that's going on around me, right? And no lie, I think for me having this car and observing everybody, I think everybody should have autopilot in their car. I swear to God. Every single person should have autopilot in their car that be on the highway a lot. Because I look and I see some stuff that some people is doing. And remember, these are the people that they have to monitor the gas, they have to monitor the brake, they have to monitor the steering, staying in lane, left and right, stuff like that. These people are doing some crazy stuff. You figure me, right? I have autopilot and I don't even do some of the stuff. Matter of fact, I do some stuff. I'll be lying. But they are doing stuff that I do with autopilot with no autopilot. Just think about what I just said. If I take my hand off the steering wheel and I decide to pick up my phone and text my wife, right? My car is driving itself and it's braking itself, it's switching lanes itself. So it's prepared for anything, right? Now, when you do that in a regular car, where you grab your phone, just all it takes is this. For you to look down for a second, just to grab your phone, and that's it. That's it. That's all it takes is that 1 second for you to look down and grab your phone, and that's it. And I look at people, they're texting, they're behind off, they're surfing through their Instagram feed and stuff like that. Some people are eating, some people drop stuff on the floor, they're picking it up, all that stuff. Now, I'm not 100% safe if I do any of those things, but I know I'm 99.9% safer than these people that's doing it with nothing at all. These people are really ridiculous with the things that they're doing. They're reaching for stuff in the back seat. They're grabbing stuff over here. And you have some people that's like this. And all it takes is for them to look down and look up, and then you're in the back of somebody's car. At least I know I have some sense of security. Like, okay, if I look down for a second, even if I'm not paying attention, the car is paying attention. So it will pick up that this car just made a sharp break. And the car will brake. You get what I'm saying? But these people are like this. And I'm talking about people that are speeding. And I drive on the highway every single day. I'm telling you, this is something very, very common. It's not rare. When you see once in a blue, people are doing this. This is happening every single day, every single moment of the day, where people are just texting and driving. It's not uncommon. It's a very, very, very common thing. So I'm doing autopilot, and I'm usually sitting like this. And I'm sitting like this. My hands is close to the steering. But just in case, if I have to make a quick swerve, step on the brake real quick, I could take over. And I'm like this. And I look, this person is texting, and you see them drifting out of the lane, and they look up and drift back into the lane. And then you look over here, and this other person is texting. And you look, and you're like, holy crap. You didn't realize it was that bad until you had the free time to actually observe everything. You're like, my goodness. The reason why I say autopilot is good is because people are going to do these things regardless. People are going to look behind the seat. People are going to pick up stuff off the floor. They're going to look at their phone. They're going to do things regardless that's dangerous, right? Elon has made it much safer. If you're going to do some dangerous shit, at least if you have autopilot, your chances of actually getting into an accident or dying goes down significantly, right? Because I know for a fact, if you're a person that don't text or drive and you see another person next to you texting and driving, you'd rather know that they at least have autopilot. So even if you see them look down, you'd be like, you know what? That's much safer than them looking down and the car is literally not driving itself. They're controlling the car. You get what I'm saying? So autopilot is only going to get better, just like planes gotten better, because I'm pretty sure the technology they had in planes in the 80s and 60s and all that stuff, the technology is way more advanced now. Things are getting better, you know? And people are going to put down autopilot and say, oh, autopilot is dangerous, la la la. Okay, so is you driving. Driving alone is dangerous. How about that? Driving and texting is dangerous. How about that? You going on your phone to look for your playlist? That's dangerous. That's actually way more dangerous than the person that's next to you driving with no hands on the steering wheel with a Tesla. How about that? Did you know that? In the future, these cars, they were saving lives. These cars are going to make crash ratings go down. People are going to stop dying as much because of autopilot. Because if used the right way, right? Listen to what I just said. If used the right way, we will not be having these problems. People are driving drunk. At least if the person was drunk and he had autopilot, he could throw it on, the car could drive for itself. He wouldn't get into a car accident. People are driving and texting. At least if they had autopilot, they could throw on the autopilot and still do the text. Less accidents. People are doing other stuff while they're driving, eating, dropping stuff on the floor, all that stuff. If you can have autopilot on while you're doing all these things, this world would be a much safer place. Much safer place. So eventually you might not understand it now, but you will understand it. Autopilot is the future. Self-driving cars are the future. And it's a safer future than what we have now. So even if you don't like it, get used to it, because it's only going to get worse. Eventually, all your luxury cars, all your regular cars that you love, they're all going to have autopilot. Might not happen now, might not happen next year or 5 years from now. But little by little, you're going to start seeing it. Because now these cars are coming with adaptive cruise control already. What do you think is next? Think about it. All right, you already know what it is. Rate, subscribe. I'm about to drive home right now. I'm in my Hyundai. I'm tired, and I wish I had my Tesla right now, because if I was tired like I am now and I have my Tesla, when I hop on the highway, I actually can do stuff to keep myself up, you know? Observe certain things, look at people, look at cars, look at buildings, look at trees, play music, hype myself up, a whole bunch of stuff. And driving is less stressful with autopilot, especially with traffic. If you never experienced it, you don't know what you're missing. It's like having a psychic with a physical keyboard and then having an iPhone with an app store with a swipe keyboard. Huge difference. All touchscreen, little screen. You have to navigate to everything that you want to. All touchscreen, you just touch and get to where you want to. It's much faster, less stress. I'm telling you. All right. We always do this. No, I always do this. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Peace.